Hi, I'm Vicki Vega, founder of Success After 60 at successafter60.com, where baby boomers like you are reinventing retirement. This series is about you and your cohorts in the baby boomer generation, what you care about, what you want, what you need to know. This is about your present and your future. This is about your next or new phase of life. This is about reinventing, rewiring, repurposing, redirecting. This is about how our generation is redefining retirement. And very importantly, today's program is about your health. And so, I am so delighted to have as my longtime colleague and cohort, Jackie Dazulski, Executive Vice President of the Manatee Chamber of Commerce. Jackie, welcome, and I am so happy you agreed to join us today. And for those viewers who do not know you, and they're probably very few because you are one who has been bred in Manatee County, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm the Executive Vice President on staff at the Manatee Chamber, which means you and I go back a long time together from your distinguished career in the chamber industry and in other community organizations that are leading Sarasota, Manatee County. So it's an honor to be here today. I've been with the Chamber now for 20 years. It was my second job out of undergrad, and while I wasn't born in Manatee County, my family moved to Bradenton when I was in third grade. So with the exception of going away to school, I've been here in our community since 1980, and now working at the Chamber, feel like it affords me the opportunity to really have jumped in with 2 feet to impact change in our community, and then work with the very best people in our community. And you know that from your history and career here. These types of organizations like chambers really attract the best and the brightest who work on issues that impact the community. So it's a great place to be.
Absolutely, you are correct in that, and I would like to congratulate you on one of your latest distinctions, and that is being named Florida Chamber Professional of the Year. That is a wonderful recognition, and as young as you are, it gives you the opportunity to kind of kick back and look back a little bit and recognize your accomplishments to date and look ahead as well. So congratulations, Jackie. Tell us a little bit about the Manatee Chamber of Commerce for those that might be new in the area.
Sure. The Manatee Chamber traces its roots back to the late 1800s. I think we're in year 127 right now in our history in Manatee County. We started way back in that day as the Bradenton Board of Trade, and through the years have evolved now to become what is known as the Manatee Chamber of Commerce. And so our mission really ties together 2 important aspects of our community, which is the health and strength of the business community and our economic base, coupled with the important aspects of quality of life. And so our mission statement actually brings in both of those topics into the work of the Chamber. We have just over 2,100 businesses that are members of our Chamber. They represent approximately 74,000 employees.
Wow.
And I think right now, as we're going to talk about as the show goes on this morning, we have 4 generations in the workplace right now, the largest of which is the boomer generation. But as your intro stated, a lot of them are looking at what's next and how do you reinvent retirement. And from a business community perspective, I think a real priority for our community and many is how do we make sure that that talent and that knowledge is captured and passed on, can continue to stay engaged, because if we don't, I think our community will be the worse for it if we don't find a way to work with all of the generations and make sure that we have continuity in the workforce and in leadership for businesses.
Well, that's very well said. As far as the multi-generation workforce goes, we of course have, as you said, 4 distinct generations. The boomers constitute a 20-year span because we have boomers that have just turned 50, and we have boomers that have just turned 70, and all the rest of us are somewhere in between. But there are a couple of different types of stories that I'm recalling as we have this conversation. And that would be the boomer, for example, Sally, who is in her 50s and owns a small business and is striving to increase her bottom line, as well as take care of her employees so that they are happy with her and productive. And then there's Sam, who is in his 60s, and he is looking at maintaining his health as well as transitioning to a whole different lifestyle. So as we think of those two categories of boomers, and there are very many more, of course, but those two come to mind as I have met them along the way, how is it that the Chamber has come to be interested in healthcare? And we'll talk, of course, as the program progresses on how it might be able to assist these people along the way. But give us a little bit about the history of the Chamber's interest in maybe the whys and the wherefores of healthcare.
Sure. The Manatee Chamber has been engaged in this issue of healthcare, which is very broad, for a number of years before even I started at the Chamber. A lot of that work has been looking at making sure the business voice is heard when legislative issues come up surrounding healthcare, because probably no surprise, the business owners that talk with us at the Chamber about healthcare often are most concerned about being able to afford health benefits for their employees. Often they are absolutely, their heart is in the right place about wanting to take care of their employees, but there are challenges, particularly for our smallest of businesses, in being able to afford to do that. And so they have looked to the Chamber to be a voice and a leader on this issue. And so a lot of our work over the past several decades has been in the legislative arena surrounding healthcare and making sure we're advocating at the federal, the state, and the local level. We've had some great successes over the years, and we have some work that still is not yet been accomplished.
Policies are important.
They are very important. And then we also have looked at healthcare as an industry in our community, and some estimates say that the healthcare industry is as much as a third of the economy and workforce, particularly in the state of Florida. And so we looked for ways to support the industry of healthcare because it's so critical to the economic health of our community, but equally important is its impact on the quality of life in our community. And if residents that are in our area don't have access to high quality, affordable health care, our quality of life will immediately suffer. And so over the years, we've heard anecdotally some issues out there surrounding healthcare, primarily, at least recently, about boomers who are physicians and healthcare professionals and their plans to exit the workforce, and where will that leave our community from a workforce perspective. And so some of what we had heard, again, at the time anecdotally, was that we aren't attracting as many young doctors to our region as other communities, and that we have a higher percentage of physicians that are boomers that will probably soon be exiting or at least pulling back in the hours that they're working. And so we had been talking about that in the business community and with local government, with our education institutions. And so back in 2007, 2008, the Manatee Chamber was approached for our foundation to consider undertaking a state of the healthcare study in Manatee County. And you and I have chatted with that over the years. And so Manatee County funded that and gave a contract to our foundation to undertake that study. And we contracted with USF to undertake that state of the healthcare study.
So you were the Chamber was not only at the table, but was a convener of this.
Absolutely.
And that study was published, and it's still available for folks to look at, because I did note that on your website. But what are some of the outcomes of it? Or maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the findings. You did touch upon them.
Sure.
And then let's talk a little bit about what are the outcomes, what has happened since then.
Sure. Some of that anecdotal information that we'd been hearing was borne out through the research that USF and its partners did with the Chamber, and that was Manatee County statistically did have a higher median age for their physicians than peer communities. So we did have a larger pool of doctors who were older,
right.
And then we had a smaller percentage of young doctors than peer communities as well. And so we looked at, we were facing and still are facing an exodus of boomer doctors out of our workforce. And at the time, we did not seem to be attracting as many young doctors. So talking about, how we address that, one of those is advocacy, because we were looking at Medicare reimbursement rates for our region, Manatee, Sarasota, and if you take into consideration all the cost of living and everything, our region is one of the lowest reimbursed Medicare regions in the country. And so if you think of a doctor coming out of medical school and out of residency, and knowing the statistics in Florida about the percentages of a practice that would be Medicare, why would a young doctor want to move to Florida or to our region when their reimbursement rate is one of the lowest? And so we've been heavily advocating at the federal level on getting adjustments to that reimbursement rate based on what we believe the economics are in our community. And then we also, it was pointed out in that study that we have LECOM, the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, turning out doctors in the Manatee, Sarasota region every year. Every one of them has to leave our region, has to leave Manatee County to do their residency. And so we said, here is an opportunity. It's not the only answer to attracting more young doctors, but if we can get more young physicians to do their residency in Manatee County, we're much more likely to keep them and be able to battle that challenge of getting young doctors in our community a little bit better. And so we were heavy advocates on getting a medical residency program established in Manatee County. Happy to say Manatee Memorial jumped up first to start that. But we now have Manatee Memorial, Blake Medical Center, and the former Manatee Glens, what is now Centerstone, all with residency programs that are not only able to be accessed by LECOM graduates, but from medical schools all across the country. So we're hoping that we're attracting the best and the brightest, and if they do their residency here, we think they're going to look around, see what an amazing community is, and decide to locate their practice here too.
I think you're on the right track. Congratulations on that. That is of supreme importance. You have another project that I think is very interesting that will help our small business owners and at the same time their employees, and it's the HealthLinks certification. Tell us a little bit about that, Jackie.
Thank you. This is a new initiative for Manatee County, and it's one that I think is going to bear really good fruit, not only for residents and employees in Manatee County, but for business owners. And so what we have launched in partnership with the health department in Manatee County and Blake Medical Center is HealthLinks Florida. You'll find it online at healthlinksflorida.org. It also has a Facebook page that's starting to generate some robust content. But the thought is, if one way businesses can improve the health of their employees is by offering health and wellness components from a benefits perspective. But let's be real, the smallest of businesses, of which the majority of our members at the Chamber, more than 50% of those 2,100 businesses I referenced earlier that are members of our Chamber, employ 5 or fewer employees. Yeah. They don't have HR professionals on staff. I mean, the CEO, the business owner, many of them boomers, they're doing everything in their business. They're the CFO, they're the CEO, they're the HR professional.
I know, I've been there.
Exactly. And so our hope is that this HealthLinks Florida program is going to bring access to wellness components for employers, much of it at absolutely no charge. And so what you'll see if your viewers go to healthlinksflorida.org is a website that allows businesses to explore all types of wellness resources that they can offer their employees. And again, many of them are at no charge. And a really nice thing about HealthLinks Florida, it comes out of the University of Colorado, the College of Public Health. We're the first community in Florida that HealthLinks has chosen.
I see. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Chosen to expand to. And we all know Colorado's a really healthy state, right? So we're glad that there's a reason they chose Manatee County. But they're not simply looking at weight and nutrition, which is the first two things people think of when they think of wellness. They think about what they're eating and their physical, their weight and their physical condition. But HealthLinks Florida brings ideas in around what they call the 4 pillars of health. And I want to make sure I got it right, so I've got a paper here just to let me know, remind me. One is certainly the physical aspect of health. One is the social aspect of health, and so that's your work-life balance.
Right.
That's connections in the community. It's mental and emotional health as well as safety. So workplace safety, ergonomics, violence prevention. And so what HealthLinks aims to do in our community is allow anyone in Manatee and Sarasota counties that are offering wellness components as a part of their business model to be able to list themselves as resources on the website. And so any business that wants to look at offering things and doesn't know where to start can just explore that website and find out what they can start doing. Some of it is policy driven. One example that we're using as an employer at the Chamber is we offer a lot of employee support through what we do in the workplace, but a lot of it's not written down anywhere, so we're trying to bring more intentionality to
Sure.
it. I'll give one example. A breastfeeding friendly policy. We are a breastfeeding friendly workplace, but it's not written down anywhere that those policies exist to support employees. So we're now looking at our employee manual. Those types of things don't cost any money, but they make a big difference for your employees' state of mind and their health. And so we're going through a whole laundry list of policies that we can add to our employee manual. And there are links in the community where a business owner doesn't have to try to figure out that language for themselves. HealthLinks Florida can make those connections and have access to written policy statements that you can include in your employee manual.
So that type of program is really important for my good friend Sally, who's in her 50s and owns a small business, and again is trying to take care of her health and that of her employees and maintain their productivity, as well as minimize her expenses and increase her bottom line. Talk to me a little bit about once Sally crosses over, like Sam is about ready to, and transition perhaps from being, in his case, he's a corporate executive, and he's looking maybe to cut back on work. He doesn't own a business, but he's cutting back on his work. He wants to spend time with his grandchildren. He wants to travel. But the Chamber has a number of members who are in that healthcare arena. As you mentioned, it's a very important part of, it's a big pillar of our economy. How can Sam benefit from the referral program that you might have, or some of the workshops and seminars that some of your Chamber members might offer?
You know, you hit the nail right on the head. Our region is rich in healthcare resources, but there's not really a one-stop place to go and find all of that information. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that the Chamber's website is as informative as possible. And so your viewers are welcome to go to manateechamber.com, and we have a directory there on the website, right on the homepage, that if your viewers are looking for a health coach, a nutritionist, they're looking at a gym membership, they're looking for a physician, our directory is organized both categorically, so they can look for a type of business, and then also alphabetically if they're searching for a very specific business that they already know exists. But then what we're also doing is coupling that HealthLinks Florida website as kind of a conglomerate of information about things that are going on. And so Sam, in your example, certainly could use that HealthLinks Florida website also for personal access to healthcare resources in the community. And then I want to mention too, the social media aspect of HealthLinks Florida. And so if your viewers go to Facebook and look for HealthLinks Florida on Facebook, that Facebook feed is going to offer a lot of information about events and wellness-related things that are going on in the community. So whether it's a healthy kids forum they can take their children or their grandchildren to on the weekend, to free yoga classes on the beach. I mean, there's so much going on. It's just hard to know sometimes where to go to find the information.
Exactly, and a calendar of events,
absolutely,
of activities and opportunities. If there's a one-stop place, that would be absolutely fabulous for everyone in this community, because we've got to be responsible for our own health, certainly, but it's also nice to know if there's a place or two or three. And right now it is quite a maze, I think, for a number of people to try to figure out, first of all, what they're going to do and then how they're going to do it. I mean, we're all bright and intelligent people, but at the same time, a little bit of motivation and a little bit of help might be in order. So I think that's a great opportunity for all of our boomers. And you know, if you aren't a boomer, you know a boomer. Or you know, you're somebody's mother, you're somebody's grandmother or grandfather or uncle or aunt, and you have children in the area or grandchildren in the area, and from that multi-generational perspective, that HealthLinks website should be a great assist. For those that have also crossed the Rubicon, if you will, and are in their middle 60s and wondering about Medicare and Social Security and all of those things, which I so recently had to navigate around, there is a wonderful site that I would like to mention to our viewers, and that's Medicare.gov. And if they were to go to Medicare.gov, they would find such a wealth of information. And we're going to be following up on this program, Jackie, with that, because I think it's of such great importance. As I look at my notes, I was amazed when I looked at this site again last night. I hadn't looked at it for quite a while, but there's information there. And I have used it in the course of trying to find a suitable place for my father after my mother's death. An assisted living facility or a progressive living facility. There's information there on where they are. You can go to Medicare.gov, you can drop down to Florida, and you can find all kinds of information, again, finding doctors and health professionals, finding hospitals, which again, you cross-reference that with what your HealthLinks Florida is going to be offering, and it's a great research tool. Home health services, dialysis facilities, health and drug plans, and again, trying to maneuver on what's the best health and drug plan for me after I'm no longer covered by my employer or after I sell my business, you know, and I'm trying to figure out the ins and the outs and the cost-benefit ratio of how do I continue. So that is a great site. There's also something there that I discovered last night that I was really, really tickled by, and it is a super tracker. So as, you know, and what is a super tracker? I mean, it's everything so many of us are looking for. It's a food tracker, it's a physical activity tracker, it's a weight manager, it's creating your top 5 goals, it's all kinds of tools and trackers, which again, we can all get on individual apps, et cetera, and so forth. But for those who want to check out this Medicare.gov website, it is absolutely fabulous. It's an example of our taxpayer money at work for us, and it's nice to see that it is working there. One other thing that I think is of great importance to those who are contemplating Medicare, as they look at Medicare.gov, as they drop down into the resources available in Florida, as they look at the various trackers that they have and resources, again, coupled with your local link, which will take them directly to our local resources, is Florida Shine. What is Florida Shine? I think you were asking me just before the program that you weren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
Well, probably 20 years from now, you'll be very familiar with it if it still exists. But it's part of the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, and it is a volunteer-driven organization. There are about 400 volunteers, and those of us who may be financially savvy or bureaucratically savvy can actually volunteer for this and assist people on a one-on-one basis. And I'll have to say that I was figuring it all out for myself several years ago, and then I said, oh wow, this is available to me. Let me call up a Florida Shine counselor. Got a call back a couple of days later, verified everything that I was intending to do, then gave me some additional good information about healthcare providers, about drug plans, about various Medicare options. It's free, okay? And it's, again, as the Chamber is a volunteer organization and runs on volunteer power, here's another example of a state government entity that is operating on volunteer power. So what else should we talk about? What have we not covered that is of so great importance that that we should touch upon before we we toast our members and proceed. Have we left anything out, Jackie?
Well, I think we could probably do 10 shows just on things related to health, because as HealthLinks points out, there's so many components of health. And as you're talking about Florida Shine, one thing that occurred to me is the peace of mind that it sounds like you had after tapping into that resource is part of your health as well.
Absolutely.
And so I would just encourage your viewers to reach out and ask questions. Use your chamber, use online tools, use the local health departments, because there are so many resources that are out there, and some of them are hidden gems that until we hear from someone we know and trust about, we don't even realize they're out there or have spent the time to access. And so I think taking a look at kind of this holistic view of what health is. You also mentioned volunteerism, so I have to put a plug in for all of the ways that people with talent and time can volunteer to help, whether it's in the school system or with nonprofits that serve a mission that tug at your heart. That also is part of health and well-being and giving back to the community and finding yourself engaged. And there are so many opportunities, particularly for baby boomers, with this incredible knowledge that you have built up over your career and your lifetime. Again, my biggest fear is that that talent starts exiting the workforce and we don't find good ways to plug that type of talent and knowledge back into the community. That would be the biggest crime, I think.
That's a perfect segue to the basis of this program, Jackie. And what we're intending to do is to revitalize and redirect and repurpose some of these folks who are otherwise trying to figure out where do they fit in as they make another of many life transitions. So Jackie, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for spending time with us today, and look forward to further conversation with you along the way.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to go check out successafter60.com because that's another thing I learned today. So I'll be on there when I get back to the office today.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. All right, listeners and viewers, in the words of Helen Keller, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Join pioneering baby boomers like you who are reinventing retirement and redefining success. Become part of the conversation. Let's broaden our perspectives and rewire together. Let's build community and have some fun on our fantastic voyage. Contact me at successafter60.com with your insights, ideas, questions, and concerns. Until we meet again, explore and enjoy the journey. And here's to your health.
Here's to health.